Welcome back. So we've reached Bizarro World. We've reached Bizarro World. One team I cheer for won tonight. It certainly wasn't Boston. Let's go ahead and dive in with Boston because I don't have a whole lot to say with this. Boston was off. I don't know how else to describe it, but definitely off. I've said before that I think Marchand is their MVP. I know how important Bergeron is, but when Marchand's out of the lineup, you can really see it. The difference in the amount of jump the Bruins have is ridiculous. So it was Leonard versus Swayman. The Bruins would press. They draw themselves a power play. DeBrusk had a rebound chance that was denied. It's killed off. Shots are 5-4 for the Bruins at the half. Things look good, and then they didn't. It's Theodore from Hutton and Stevenson at 13:04. That one went in off Forbert. It's unfortunate. And then a rush goal. Pacioretty from Stevenson and Stone at 15:19. Remember when Swayman was undefeated at home? It's over. Bruins seemed really out of sync. Just not with it. And again, with Smith and Marchand both out of lineup, you could just tell. Last minute, there's a power play for Vegas, and they score. In the final second of the period, it is Marchessault from Pietrangelo and Smith. So with all of these games going on at the same time, I see 3-0 Vegas, and I'm like, yeah, so that's done. Second period, frustrated Bruins getting kind of scrummy. Doesn't matter. Pacioretty makes it 4-0 from Stone at 5:06. Vegas presses for another. Great road game. Honestly, Vegas came in, they had a game plan, and they executed it very well. Stone nearly buries one, but after 2 periods, it's 4-0 for the Vegas Golden Knights. Bergeron would score from Hall at 21 seconds to at least add some intrigue, but no real sense that there was any danger that lead was going to evaporate for the Vegas Golden Knights. The shots were 3-1 for the Bruins 4 minutes in. Vegas just absolutely, they were cruising, and they were just absolutely cruising past the Bruins at this stage. Goalie pull by Boston, sure, whatever. It doesn't go anywhere. Vegas wins 4-1. They go to 17-11. Boston drops to 14-9-2. That one hurts. 3 stars are Pacioretty, Stevenson, and Theodore. This is a time where all 3 stars are Vegas, and they're rightfully all 3 stars from Vegas. Shots were 10-7 Vegas in the first, 9-8 Boston in the second, 8-7 Boston in the third. Final shots 25-24 for Vegas. Vegas goes 1-for-1 on the power play. Boston goes 0-for-1. Boston did out-hit them, 38-20. So the hits were there. Leonard saved 23 out of 24. Nice bounce-back game from him after a couple of down games. Swayman, 21 saves on 25 shots, which means we'll hear the Tuukka Rask talk from Bruins fans basically immediately. No matter how many goals Boston scores, immediately it's the goalie. So it's the Boston fans' way that it has to be the goaltender. And it's bizarre, but I do expect to hear that conversation tomorrow because, again, Swayman saves 21 out of 25. You want more, but yeah, without Marchand, this is trouble for Boston. Next up, Tampa. Tampa was given a real hard time by the LA Kings tonight, but at the end of the night, of course, Tampa Bay, where there's a will, there's a way for him. It's Quick versus Vasilevsky in this one. The Bolts had won 8 in a row against LA coming into tonight, so they're well versed in how to beat the Kings. Stamkos fires one wide. The shots were 6-1 for the Kings 4 minutes into this. They came out firing. Stamkos hits the side of the net. The Bolts get some zone time, but they were stuck on one shot at that point. Kings get a power play. They do score on it. Doughty scores from Iafallo and Kopitar at 9:06. The shots with 3 minutes left were 12-3 for LA. Now, scoring opportunities were close, but still the shots are pretty heavily in favor of the Kings. And then Hedman on the 4th shot gets the goal from Stamkos and Maroon at 18:01. And then in the final 30 seconds, Palat is robbed by Jonathan Quick. So we're going to the second period tied at 1. It's not tied for long. Arvidsson scores from Roy at 30 seconds. That one went off Colton's stick. So Colton would remember that, and he did make up for it later in the game. Bolts try to answer. They end up getting a power play as well. Chances both ways at power play did not succeed. The chances both ways with 7 minutes left. Hedman had a blast that deflected wide, and then Radish ties it. He's been heating up scoring-wise from Ruda and Kachuk at 14-19. Bolts then get another power play. Stamkos with a shot that's blocked. It is killed off in the last seconds. Tampa Bay draws another power play. So we go to the third period with that third power play rolling over. Stamkos has a shot that's saved, and the Kings survive. They do kill it off. The shots were 5-4 in favor of Tampa at 7.5 minutes, so they were playing a very good game there. Kempe was denied by Vasilevsky. The Kings get a power play. Kopitar fires one wide. That was killed off. The Kings then with a 3-on-2. Kopitar can't bury it. We have to go to overtime. In overtime, Bolts were carrying it. The Kings couldn't change until about a minute and a half. Joseph has a breakaway. That's denied. The Kings had a 2-on-1. Arvidsson fires it high. Kopitar had a break as well. That was denied. And then Joseph, he scores from Colton at 3:25. And it was a 3-on-1 that led to the goal. So no chance for Quick on that one. And so Tampa Bay survives this one. They win in overtime 3-2. With the win, they go to 18-6-4. LA drops to 12-10-5 with the overtime loss. Your 3 stars are Joseph, Radish, and Quick. Shots 12-5 LA in the first, 14-6 Tampa in the second, 11-8 LA in the third, and then in the overtime Tampa outshoots LA 3-1. Final shots, both teams had 30. Power plays 1 for 2 for LA, 0 for 3 for Tampa. Hits 29-26 in favor of the Bolts. Quick saves 27 out of 30. Vasilevsky saves 28 out of 30. Very, very good game. Honestly, solid goaltending, but for both teams. And yeah, it was a fun one. Of the games that started at 4 o'clock, this was one of the more fun games. Next up, what's going on? So I look at this game and I say, wow, so coming out of my power rankings, there were Florida fans that weren't happy. Maybe I overrated Florida this week on the power rankings. This was an embarrassment. And I think the worst thing is this is an embarrassment from start to finish. I know people are going to pile on Spencer Knight. I don't think that's fair, but I'm sure people will. I was surprised Spencer Knight was left in there for the whole thing. But hey, these things happen. It's Forsberg versus Knight. Verhaeghe seeks one right away, but the shots were 5-0 for the Sens at 4 minutes. Florida's flat, and Ottawa makes them pay. It's Watson from Paul and Shabbat at 4:38. Sens then press for another. They were not satisfied. The Ottawa Senators, it feels like they looked at the record when it was 4-15-1 and said we've got to be better than this, and they've started winning some games here. Watson with a centering pass, that's cleared out. Ennis was in alone. Knight saves there. Panthers get a power play. It was unsuccessful, but after it's done, Florida does tie it. It's Huberdeau from Reinhart and Carlson at 13:05. Panthers then get another power play. That's a no. So at this point, you got to be thinking, well, so the Panthers are going to win this, but Ottawa's at least giving them a bit of a push. They're giving them a test, right? Duclair had a rush chance that was saved with 23.6 seconds left. They called a face-off violation on Ottawa, but in this case, it was you can't close your hand on the puck and fling it out of the circle there. So that's a legit call. So. We go to the second period with that power play rolling over. But a really aggressive penalty kill by the Sens, and it succeeds, kills it off. Or actually, while I'm writing that, Gambrell scores shorthanded from Brown at 1:30, which was, I think, 3 seconds before the power play ends. So I see the Sens kill it, or the Sens clear it, and so I start Sens aggressive penalty kill, killed it. Oh, okay, so Gambrell gets the shorthanded goal before I'm finished writing. All right, fine. That's his first goal as a Senator as well. That makes it 2-1. Forsberg holds a solid game so far for him. He was good when he was tested by Florida. Sens get a power play. That was unsuccessful. Only recorded the one shot. Watson and Gudas get kind of unfriendly with one another. No surprise there. Panthers come out with a power play from all that. So the Sens are the one that get the penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct for Watson dropping the gloves. Gudas just skating away from him, leaving him there. I always find that funny, though, because I dropped my gloves. Now I guess I'll just pick these up then, because you're skating that way. So, Sens had a 2-on-1, Knight saves, and then Reinhart would score from Lundell at 15:33. It's not a power play goal, but it's a goal, and it gets Florida back tied with Ottawa. And again, we just keep expecting Florida to have these big comebacks, right? Norris would make them need a comeback. He scores from Batherson and Paul at 16:12. So it was a goal. Norris knows it's a goal. They didn't know at the time it was a goal, so the play continued, and then they looked at the replay and they went, oh, yeah, that puck was in. So Norris gets the goal there. Stützle would add one at 17:26, and it's 4-2. In the last minute, the Senators were pressing for another. So after 2 periods, it's 4-2. Again, it is Florida. I am expecting the big comeback. I am used to the big comeback from Florida. Norris scores from Batherson at 23 seconds. So much for a comeback. The Sens then press for another. The Panthers did get a power play. And then I think the key moment of the game, they get 27 seconds of 5-on-3. The Panthers call a power play to talk it over. But the Senators killed the whole thing off. And then Batherson scores from Norris at 6 minutes and 10 seconds. We then had a kerfuffle, which got Huberdeau thrown out of the game. On a power play, Nick Paul then scores from Chabot at 14:23. And then Paul adds another at 14:57 from Brown and Ennis. So if you're counting it up at home and you're going, is that 8-2? Is that a legit score? Yep. The Senators go into Florida and win 8-2. There's your goal differential fallen. The Senators 9-16-1 with the win. They're still not in a playoff race. They're not even close. They'd have to win like 8 in a row to even get into the conversation. But they're proving they're good spoilers. Florida 18-6-4 is the record with a humiliating loss. They have to bounce back next game, but man, they're not playing very well. 3 stars are Paul, Norris, and Batherson. Shots 13-9 Ottawa in the first, 13-8 Florida in the second, 17-13 Ottawa in the third. So again, people are going to talk about Spencer Knight, I would imagine, but you can't allow 17 shots to the Senators in the third period. Final shots are 38-35 for Ottawa. Power plays, Ottawa goes 2 for 4, and Florida goes 0 for 6. Both teams had 26 hits. Forsberg, 33 saves on 35 shots. Knight, 30 saves on 38 shots for a save percentage of .789. So Spencer Knight, looking like a young goaltender tonight. These things do happen with young goaltenders. All right, moving along. New Jersey. That I honestly do find this interesting too, because again, coming back to like a power rankings discussion, the question is, am I too hard on New Jersey? And when I see a result like this, I go, no, they're right in about the right spot. So it's not like I drop them down to 32. They're right about the right spot. So it's Blackwood versus Hart. I've been saying this year that it feels like teams are starting to figure out Blackwood, or Blackwood's just not playing as well. Or if you're saying Blackwell's just as good, then you're going to have to say the defense in front of him hasn't been as good. Good start for the Flyers. Honestly, they came out, they had all the jump, and they get the first goal. It's Sanheim from Ristolainen and Van Riemsdyk at 9:14. And little did I know, much like this game, this would be one that I could abandon when other games get started, because when there's 11 games on, I can't watch them all. So despite the 2 games being postponed, there was still a lot for me to follow tonight. So the Flyers had a 3-on-1. Lawton fires high. That was the second time he'd fired high on an opportunity. We then get 2 minutes of 4-on-4, and during that, Cam Atkinson scores from Ristolainen and Sanheim at 18:35. It is 2-0 for the Flyers at home after the first. And for Flyers fans, I guess you don't need the bags in your heads right now. So second period, early power play for the Devils. Atkinson's denied out of the box. The Devils get a 2-on-1. Hart saves there. And then Braun makes it 3-0 from Lindblom and Provorov at 6:07. But New Jersey does answer. PK Subban gets a goal from McLeod at 6:43. So that makes it 3-1. Atkinson had a break. He couldn't get a shot off, though, when he had that break. Devils end up getting a power play. During that, Atkinson scores a shorthanded goal. He gets that one from Provorov at 16:16. And then after that power play is over, before the period is over, Lindblom scores from Atkinson at 18:20. And that was a turnover, and it's in the back of your net. Cam Atkinson, the best game he's played for Philly in, I'll say, at least a month. At least a month. So we go to the third period with 5-1. Yep. Devils get a power play, unsuccessful. The shots were 5-2 for the Devils at 5.5 minutes, so that's something. And then Atkinson scores again, because sure, why not? That's his third. There's the hat trick from Giroux and Willman at 7:09. And yeah, it's a big game for Atkinson. 3 goals and an assist. So yeah, late Devils power play, unsuccessful. Flyers never had a power play. Apparently they didn't need it. They win 6-1 over New Jersey. The Devils drop to 10-12-5. Philadelphia 11-12-4 with the victory. Your 3 stars are Atkinson, Sanheim, and Lindblom. Oscar Lindblom needed this game. Hopefully that gets him going. Shots 13-6 Philly in the first, 9 apiece in the second, and 12-8 New Jersey in the third. Final shots 30-27 in favor of Philadelphia. New Jersey had all 4 power plays in this game. Didn't score on any of them. Hits 24-22 for Philly. Blackwood saved 17 out of 22. Schmid went in. Schmid saved 7 out of 8 in relief. And Hart saves 26 out of 27. I keep seeing people saying Hart's not good. No, Hart's a bad goalie. And honestly, he's had a good year this year. I understand there's still that feeling from last season. And again, if you don't watch the Flyers regularly, you might be of the mind that Hart's not playing well, but he is. And yeah, so anyways, let's go ahead and change boards. Good old reliable Montreal. Yeah. And you know the funny thing with this one was they started out so well. It's Allen versus Jarry in this one in Pittsburgh. Good start for the Habs. They press at the 3-minute mark. In fact, 9 minutes into this, the shots are 4-1 for Montreal. They look good. Couldn't bury it. Jarry stopped them. And then Kapanen scores from Rodriguez at 11:08. How about that Evan Rodriguez? So he was off to another good start. Pens then get a power play, but a really strong penalty kill by Montreal. Credit where credit's due. Penguins can't set up. It's killed off. Allen then denied Bluger after that. Momentum had definitely shifted, and it was now against Montreal. So it was in favor of Montreal early, but once Pittsburgh gets that lead. So we go to the second period with it 1-0. Penguins get a power play. It then became a 5-on-3. During that, Carter was denied as Allen was doing his best to keep this game a 1-goal game. Rodriguez has a shot that's blocked, and Montreal did kill it off. Penguins get another power play. Now, they have a bad power play. Statistically, Pittsburgh's power play is one of the worst in the league. But if you give them enough chances, statistics will tell you they'll get one. And it's Rodriguez from Letang and Crosby at 6:45. This is where, again, I want to give Montreal some credit. Drew answers from Dauphin 14 seconds later. Then the Habs get a power play. Caulfield fires one wide. They're not able to get anything on that power play. It's over. And then Matheson scores from Crosby and Rodriguez at 11:27. The Penguins get a power play. The Habs did kill it off, but I felt like they were just taking way too many penalties. Again, to their credit, Ylonen scores from Drouin at 19:57. So Montreal's keeping this close, right? It's 3-2. Well, the third period changes that. Dumoulin scores from Crosby at 28 seconds. Screenshot, no chance for Allen on that one. Shots were only 2-2 at 5 minutes, but again, one of the 2 shots for Pittsburgh's gone in. It's a 4-2 game. And then Boyle scores from Simone and Ruhwedel at 9 minutes and 38 seconds to make the score 5-2. The Habs tried to answer. They hit what was their 4th post of the game at that stage. They get a power play. Nothing comes out of it. And so Montreal loses 5-2 as they continue to try to get Shane right, I guess. They're 6-21-3 with the 5-2 loss. Pittsburgh goes to 15-8-5. They've put together a good record. And there's a team that's ahead of them in the division that seems to be falling back a little bit. So the 3 stars are Rodriguez, Crosby, and Dumoulin. Shots 8-7 Pittsburgh in the first, 18-8 Pittsburgh in the second. And then Montreal outshot them 15-5 in the third. 2 of those 5 shots went in, though. Final shots 31-30 for Pittsburgh. Power plays 0-2 for Montreal, 1-5 for Pittsburgh. Hits 29-22 for Montreal. Allen saves 26 out of 31. Jarry saves 28 out of 30. So yeah, there you go. Pittsburgh, they come through with another victory. And for Montreal, it's a predictable result, right? Like I said, even in the preview, if you're looking for goals, take Pittsburgh kind of thing. Like it feels predictable at this point. It's kind of too bad. All right, because it's always a more entertaining league when Montreal's competitive and they're in the hunt, right? All right, next up, Detroit. Detroit's back home, makes a big difference. On the road, they're not. It just doesn't seem like it works the same on the road as it does at home, and it's something that if they're gonna make this push for the playoffs work, they're gonna need to figure out that road record. So it's Sorokin versus Nedeljkovic, pressed by the Islanders at 2.5 minutes. Pretty even first half, but the Islanders' storyline continues to be they can't score. This is a team that we've known they rely on sort of a trapping style and rely on their goaltenders, but this year it feels like it's all about the goal. Can you get a shutout? If you can get a shutout, Islanders win. Can you not? Then they probably don't, and it's getting bad. Zadina couldn't bury one. He had a couple of opportunities there that he couldn't get into the net. Wings with some chances. Sorokin makes saves. Power play for the Wings. But it's unsuccessful. There were 24 shots in that first period, 14 of them for Detroit, and no scoring. Second period, Bailey has a tip shot that's saved. Beauvillier can't bury one because Beauvillier is not allowed to get points anymore. If you're looking at anybody on the Islanders who might need a change of scenery, it might be Beauvillier. He is so snake bit. He's like at Donskoy levels of snake bit right now. The Islanders get a power play. That's unsuccessful. The Wings press at 9 minutes. The Wings then get their power play, and it works. Larkin scores from Sider and Raymond at 10:32. And Sorokin almost got it. Like, it was so close to him catching it, but he doesn't. Gagne then had a chance that was defended. The Wings press. They don't get shots out of that pressure that they had, though. Osterley fires one wide. The Wings then get a power play. It's unsuccessful, but we roll over into the third period with them ahead 1-0. Now, the shots were 3-1 for the Islanders at 3.5 minutes. They did what they had to do. They press at 7.5 minutes. They can't score. This is absolutely the problem for the Islanders now. Bailey with a rush chance, that's saved. Wallstrom had a chance that was saved and held as well. The shots are 8-4 for the Islanders with 9 minutes left. Strong game for Nedeljkovic. And then they reward him. Rasmussen from Ernie at 12:55. They scored 2-on-1. It was completely against the flow of play. That makes it 2-0. And it was a deflator if you're the Islanders. Wallstrom almost answers. They would pull the goaltender with 3 minutes left. They do score. Anders Lee scores from Dobson and Nelson at 17:27. So it's good that Nelson's back in the lineup. And Lee's been scoring goals. But, man, it's just... So it was a tip shot by Lee. No chance for Nedeljkovic on that one. So they pull the goaltender again with 1 minute and 36 seconds left. Wallstrom has a puck bounce on him, so he couldn't bury it. Pajot couldn't score either at the buzzer. So he takes a shot that I don't think it would have counted if it gone in, but that just shows again that Nedeljkovic is solid. Detroit wins 2-1. They go to 14-12-3. The Islanders drop to 7-12-5. It was nice to listen to Mickey tonight. Mickey clearly excited that the Detroit Red Wings are 2 games above 500 after all of the grumbly seasons he's had to put up with. He's a very loud grumbler. Doesn't turn his microphone off either. He grumbles a lot during the game. So if the team does something he doesn't like, he's like, ugh, yeah, huh? And I feel like Ken Daniels should tell him, Mickey, we can hear you. But anyways, it's great. We're not hearing that as much this year. They're more impressed grunts than the frustrated ones he was letting out before. So your 3 stars are Larkin, Nedeljkovic, and Lee. Your shots are 14-10 Detroit in the first, 18-9 Detroit in the second, 15-7 Islanders in the third. Final shots 39-34 for Detroit. Power plays 0-1 for the Islanders, 1-3 for Detroit. The hits, not a heavy hitting game, 15-8 for the Islanders. Sorokin saves 37 out of 39. He was very good, but Nedeljkovic saves 33 out of 34. He was just that much better. And, so Detroit, again, they win at home. They got to figure out the road. If they can figure out the road, they absolutely could be a playoff team this season. All right, Buffalo. All right, so I wear Winnipeg for the preview, and I'm thinking, this feels cheap. Like, when I did the preview this morning, I thought, this doesn't feel right, because clearly Winnipeg's going to beat Buffalo. I should maybe wear Montreal. Maybe I should wear something that's a little more risky. I try not to play it too safe with the jersey I wear for the preview. And what was this? This was possibly one of the best road games Buffalo's played this year. The shots don't tell the whole story in this one. So it's Luukkonen versus Hellebuck. Good luck getting Luukkonen out of that net now. Dahlin with a wraparound, that wouldn't go. Might have been Dahlin's best game of the year this year too. Shots are 3-2 for the Sabres at 6.5 minutes. They get a power play. They score on it. That's not supposed to happen against Winnipeg. All right, Winnipeg's penalty kill is just as bad as Vancouver's. The problem being Vancouver seems to be improving. So Dahlin scores from Thompson at 7:14. It was a beautiful one, crossbar and down. Flat first half for the Jets, and then at 10:04, right after that first half is done, it's Dubois from Morrissey on a turnover. So they take advantage of a turnover from Buffalo, and they tie up the game. Then there's a post for Jokiharju pretty quick after that. So they seem to go right back to not necessarily playing that well, even though they're still getting shots. So Jets press, and then Hellebuck saved an opportunity Buffalo got right after that. Luukkonen denies Scheifele. We get a power play for the Jets. It's a no. It was all Jets in the second half. I don't know how many of those were high danger chances, but it's 1-1 after one. So if you're Buffalo, you're taking that. Second period. Sabres are known as a team that score a lot in the second period. I think they said like 47% of their goals are second period goals. Happens again tonight too. Near miss for Morrissey. The Jets get a power play. That was unsuccessful. We get a press by the Sabres at the half, and eventually they score, and it's Bjork who's fitting in well in Buffalo from Hinostroza and Eakin at 11 minutes and 30 seconds. So that puts Buffalo ahead, quiets the crowd down. Luukkonen denies Dubois during a 3-on-1, but then Ehlers scores from Dubois at 12:36. And so that brings the crowd back to life, right? It's 2-2. Then Ehlers was denied a second. There's a press by the Jets with 3.5 minutes left. However, in the final minute of the second period, Buffalo scores. It's Dahlin from Olofsson at 19:21. So Dahlin with a couple of goals. Again, best game he's played all year. Third period, at 5 seconds, the Jets get a power play. They need a goal. Stastny couldn't bury one, though, and it's killed off. Asplund then can't bury one at the other end when he gets an opportunity. Ehlers has a rush chance. He fires a wide. There's a press by the Sabres at 7 minutes. And an interesting thing's going on. As this game's going along, you can see Buffalo's in pretty good control of this. The shots are 6-4 in favor of the Sabres with 9 minutes left. And then Skinner on a rush. He scores his 9th of the year. Don't look now. Skinner's on pace for about 30 goals. From Olofsson and Jokiharju at 11:55. We then get a power play for the Sabres with 3:46 left. Well, what that does is it delays the goaltender being pulled. So with 1:34 left, the Jets do pull the goaltender while they're down by 2, and they're not able to get anything out of it. The Buffalo Sabres kill that off. They win 4-2. They go to 9-15-4 with the win. The Jets drop to 13-10-5. And this one hurts. You have to win a home game against Buffalo if you're the Jets, because the playoffs aren't going to get easier to make at this point. 3 stars are Dahlin, Luukkonen, and Dubois. So that's an odd trio right there for your 3 stars, right? Shots were 14-7 Winnipeg in the first, 13-12 Winnipeg in the second, 9-8 Winnipeg in the third. Like I said, I don't think the shots tell you the whole story. Final shots 36-27 Winnipeg. Power plays, Buffalo 1 for 2, Winnipeg 0 for 3. The hits were 27-17 for Winnipeg. Luukkonen, 34 saves on 36 shots. Kid looks fantastic. And Hellebuck, 23 saves on 27 shots. The Jets, just whatever you're looking for right now, if you're a Jets fan, you're not finding it. It's just this you have to win a game at home against the Buffalo Sabres, and they didn't. They found a way not to, so they stay below that playoff line. All right, that being said, moving along. St. Louis, the Blues. In against Dallas tonight. Dallas had a nice long winning streak at home. That's done. Dallas played a home game tonight that resembled some of their road games recently. It's not great. And so, I don't know what's next for Dallas. We'll see, because they have to play St. Louis now in St. Louis. And like I said, they're not very good on the road. It's Lindgren versus Ottinger. I will say this. I love Charlie Lindgren. I want him to stick around. I really do. I want him to stick around. I want him to stay in the league. I don't know how that's going to work, because Husso's an NHL goaltender, so's Binnington. Somebody somewhere has to be looking at what Lindgren's doing and saying, he'd be better than our backup. And whatever team that might be, great. But I hope that he ends up staying in the league. The Blues get a power play. The dislike shows up early between these teams. Power play's killed off. The shots are 4-1 for the Blues at 5.5 minutes. The Stars were having problems putting more than one pass together. So that first pass, okay, the second pass, the Blues were getting in the middle, or the Stars were just a little bit off. The Blues score, but does it count? Well, they wanted to check and see if it was kicked in. They decided it wasn't kicked in, so the goal counts. So, hearing that, Rick Bowness says, fine, but the play was offside. So they review it, and yes, the play was offside, so the goal still comes off the board. Stars were held to 2 shots in the first half. Not inspiring of a half a period for Dallas. Power play then for the Stars. That was a no. Parayko had a shot that was blocked by Carroll. He blocked it with his hand. I don't recommend that on a Parayko slapper. So second period, scoreless. Lindgren saves an early chance for Pavelski. And the play did favor Dallas in those beginning stages of the period. Blues get a power play. That's unsuccessful. A little over halfway into this game, the shots are 14 each. So at 32 minutes, both teams have 14 shots. And it felt like it was a pretty good defensive battle to that point. Long stretch without a whistle. The Stars press with 5 minutes left. Damiani almost scores, and then he does. He scores in his NHL debut from Klingberg and Robertson at 15:57. And little did we know that if you're a Dallas fan, that's where the good times end. Parayko would score a little over a minute later from Tarasenko and Buchnevich at 17:03. The Stars did nearly answer, but coming out of 2 periods, it's 1-1. Third period. Things get scrummy early in this one. Walker with a chance. Ottinger saves there, so sadly Nathan Walker doesn't get on the scoreboard tonight. Joshua would score from Falk at 207. I should say, unless some of these assists have changed. But at this point, what I have on the board, he didn't get on the board. So Joshua scores from Falk at 207. Blues are getting traffic in front of Ottinger. They did that very well all night. Solid defense then by Parayko. Tarasenko with a break. He's taken down, no call. I will agree with Vlad Tarasenko on this. That probably should have been a penalty on Dallas, but they hadn't called anything to that point in the game. Blues would get a power play, and it's a 4-minuter as well. So that's a double power play right there. Buchnevich with a chance. There's a glove save. 8:46 left. The Blues call a timeout, and it works. At 11:37, O'Reilly scores the power play marker. That went in off Lindell's skate. Blues are shot blocking as the Stars seek the answer. Goaltender gets pulled because, sure. So much like the Boston game, I'm like, yeah, sure, why not pull the goalie? You're not going to score, but go for it. 1:50 left. Pavelski has a penalty. Well, that ends it. And Tarasenko would score on that power play. So Tarasenko gets his, I believe that's his 10th of the year, from Barbashev and Buchnevich at 18:43. And so St. Louis wins this one 4-1. They go to 16-8-5. Dallas drops to 13-11-2 with the loss. Your 3 stars in this game were Lindgren, Damiani, and Falk. The 3 stars, again, Lindgren being number 1, that's fantastic. Keep him in the NHL. Shots, 10 apiece in the first, 12-9 in both the second and third period for Dallas. Final shots, 34-28 for Dallas. Power plays, 2 for 5 for St. Louis. Dallas just had the 1 power play, did not score on it. Hits were 25-17 for St. Louis. Lindgren, 33 saves on 34 shots. Ottinger, 24 saves on 28 shots. So both Ottinger and Swayman didn't come through tonight, but happens with young goaltenders. And Lindgren with the win. I can't be mad at Lindgren. I can't. I hope Lindgren jerseys are starting to fly off the shelves in St. Louis. I think that would be great. That being said, I do need to change boards. Okay, so the New York Rangers do not like playing against the Colorado Avalanche. Got it. The Avalanche, of course, beat them 7-3 in New York. This was the rematch. New York, I thought, gave them everything they could handle, but in the end, Colorado's just the better team. And it's Georgiev versus Kemper in this one. Early chances for the Avs. The shots were 3-2 for the Rangers at 6 minutes, but that changes. The Avs start to take over. They get a power play. They don't score on it, but after it's over, Rantanen scores from McKinnon and Burakovsky at 12:18. Then the Avs get a late power play. And this was the problem for the Rangers tonight, too, as they were in the box too much. So while this power play goal goes in as Makar from McKinnon and Kadri at 18:11, and it was the only power play goal for the Colorado Avalanche. Just spending that much time in the box, it hurts your flow and everything. So it's 2-0 Colorado after 1. Doesn't help to spot the Avs with a 2-goal lead. Early power play for the Rangers in the second. We then get 43 seconds of 4-on-4, followed by an Avs power play. The Rangers then, they go back on the power play for their second and final power play of the game. Kemper denies Strome. The Avs did kill it off, but it was a dangerous-looking power play. Rantanen then has a near miss at the net. Reeves has a fight with McDermott. Pretty good tilt there. And then Strome would get the Rangers on the board from Fox and Panarin at 10:36. So Strome, who's had a lot of opportunities the last few games, he finally gets a goal there. The Avs then go back to the power play. That was a no. McKinnon goes beast mode, but the shot he takes off of it is blocked. Makar with a rush, fires one high. Rangers, they had a giveaway then that nearly cost them. There were some giveaways. You can't get the puck away to Colorado. It's dangerous. Nichushkin then scores from Compher and Kadri at 18:45. So that 18 to 19 minute mark, it bites the Rangers in the first and second period. So we go to the third with it 3-1. I was pretty confident at this point Colorado's going to bring this home. The Avs press at 2.5 minutes. Aubé-Kubel had a chance that was saved. The Avs get another power play. Pretty aggressive penalty kill. Girard had a shot towards the end that was saved. The Avs did press after it ended. Burakovsky and Newhook both had opportunities that were saved. Kemper then denies Panarin. The Avs go back to the power play because they spent a lot of the night on the power play. The Avs scored. It was challenged for goalie interference. Initially, it didn't look like there was anything to it, but yeah, there was goalie interference. There's no goal. The Rangers finish off the kill. There's 6 minutes left. They pulled the goaltender with 3+ minutes left, and they called a timeout as well. And they did score. It's Gauthier from Hunt right off the faceoff at 17:58. So they pull the goaltender again. They pressed for the tie, which allows Nichushkin to score at 19:23. Notice that's not an empty netter. There was a face-off that forced them to put Georgiev back in, and Nichushkin beats them. So it's 4-2 is your final in favor of the Colorado Avalanche. They go to 17-7-2. Remember a little over a month ago when their record wasn't very good? Those days are over. The Rangers 18-7-3. So they don't like playing Colorado. They don't have to play Colorado again. They'll be quite happy they don't have to play Colorado anymore. 3 stars in this one: Nichushkin, McKinnon, and Kadri. Shots 12-7 Colorado in the first, 7 apiece in the second, 14-12 Rangers in the third. Final shots 31-28 for Colorado. Power plays 0-2 for the Rangers, 1-6 for Colorado. Hits 19-13 for the Rangers. Georgiev saves 27 out of 31. Kemper saved 26 out of 28. And this is one of Kemper's better games. That's good news. If the goaltending is going to hold for Colorado, you don't need to score 7. You can score 4 and still win the game. So, yeah, pretty good night overall for Colorado as they continue to move up that board right there that I'm looking at. Okay, next up. Now, I'm not going to say that it's time to panic if you're the Oilers, but it's not time not to panic. It's Campbell versus Koskinen. I know Mike Smith's coming back pretty quick here, but I'm not going to put this on Koskinen. I just can't because the Oilers had trouble scoring tonight. So the Oilers get an early power play. Kassian ends that by taking a penalty to make it a 4-on-4. Everything gets killed off there. Kasha fires one high on a turnover. Muzzin turns a puck over to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, which I think is a bad idea, so I put that on the board. Campbell robbed Fogle with 44 seconds left. The Leafs get a power play. They score on it. Matthews from Tavares at 19:24. That was his 19th goal of the season. So it's 1-0 Toronto after 1. And I noticed a lot of Toronto cheers in that Edmonton crowd. I'm used to that in Vancouver. It's still weird to me in Edmonton. Second period, Engvall has a chance that's blocked. There's a press by the Oilers at 4.5 minutes. The Leafs went over 5 minutes without a shot. I think it ended up being like about 8 minutes without a shot. 6 minutes in, the shots were 6-0 Edmonton. But Campbell is the story. Jack Campbell was fantastic. And then Simmons makes it 2-0 from Riley and Clifford at 8:47. Right after that, McDavid robbed. McDavid's absolutely robbed. And that's where you hear the soup chants. And you'd swear you were in Toronto. There was a lot of people chanting soup. And I'm going to say, I can't prove that there might have been an Oilers fan or two doing it, but it's kind of a fun chant, isn't it? Kerfoot with a rush chance, that saved. The Leafs get a power play. There was a shorthanded 2-on-1. Sevier had a shot that was saved there. Muzzin has a chance that's saved. It's all killed off. And then Brody scores at 14:54 to make it 3-0, kind of out of nowhere. And that's where the Go Leafs Go chants got really loud too. So, again, as a Canuck fan, I know how that works. I've definitely seen that in Vancouver. Nylander nearly adds another. The Oilers get a power play with 1:46 left. There was a shorthanded chance for Kasha, who I thought had a good game. And going into the third period, it's 3-0 Toronto. The Leafs did finish off the kill. The shots were 4-1 for the Oilers 4 minutes in. Seeney's denied as the Oilers were pinned down, but the puck goes the other way. Sevier scores from Kassian at 5:26. It's 3-1. This is where normally with the Oilers, when they were on their hot streak, you'd see them start to peg off the goals, and they're getting all these opportunities. Instead, Morgan Riley answers from Nylander at 6:33, and Nylander with an absolutely fantastic play to get that puck over to Riley. Easy goal relatively for Riley, and a lot of really good work by Nylander there. And then at 16:40, just to add insult to injury, Matthews scores from Kasha. That's his 20th. He now has 13 goals in 10 games. He's 3 goals behind Leon Draisaitl for the league lead in goal scoring. So, yeah, it turns out he's a pretty good goal scorer. Toronto wins 5-1. Toronto goes to 28-2 with the win. The Oilers drop to 16-11, and this is a problem. And apparently somebody threw a jersey on the ice. Get original ideas, kids. And so, yeah, the Oilers. And when your team is 16-11, what are you doing? Throwing it? Climb the glass, get your damn jersey, and get out. So yeah, 3 stars are Campbell, Matthews, and Riley in this one. The shots were 12 apiece in the first, 15-7 Edmonton in the second, 9-6 Edmonton in the third. Final shots 36-25 Edmonton. Power plays Toronto 1-3, Edmonton 0-2. Hits 29-20 for Edmonton. Campbell saves 35 out of 36. Koskinen saves 20 out of 25. I know Koskinen's numbers are kind of ugly, but tonight Campbell steals this. And Edmonton just didn't have that jump. It wasn't there. I know they had 36 shots, but They didn't have the necessary jump, and you can see they're starting to get a little frustrated about it. So it's been quite the losing streak for Edmonton. What's going to turn it around? We shall see. Now, it is worthy of note, too, that Tippett wasn't behind the bench tonight out of abundance of caution. So I guess he's going to the protocol list potentially as well. He's not on it yet, but just for precautionary reasons, they didn't have him on the bench. But I'm not going to say that's what caused this, because we've seen coaches out and teams still do really well. So we shall see what happens with Edmonton from here. Next up. All right, I didn't get the score on this, so the game caught me off guard so much I didn't even put the score up. I don't know how I feel about this. This was just incredible, because I can't imagine if I'd been there. I gotta say, I can't imagine if I'd been there. The fact is right now that Vancouver is a rocking place to watch a hockey game. So it's Merzlikins versus Halak. Halak had not won a game as a Canucks goaltender as of yet. Early press by Columbus. Besser nearly fools Merzlikins, does not. And then Robinson scores from Texier and Werenski at 4:25. So Columbus 7-4-1 when they score first. The Canucks, they don't usually, under Bruce, they haven't been allowing the first goal. So this felt like, uh-oh. Like the voice in my head said, yeah, uh-oh. And Columbus would press, Halak saves. Momentum was with Columbus after the goal, and then Domi scores from Roslovic and Carlson at 11:37. So that makes it 2-0. And then at 16:18, Robinson scores again from Bayreuther and Texier. So Texier, first time in his career, he's had multiple assists in a game. And it's 3-0. It was a fast break goal. He puts it right through Halak. And so coming out of the first period, my thought was, okay, it's 3-0. Well, it was a fun run while it lasted. That was it. And I thought, it's okay. They're going to lose games here and there. It's fine. It's fine. Second period, Canucks were kept to the outside in Columbus's zone, but they were getting the zone time, and the shots are 7-2 in their favor at 6 minutes. We then go 4-on-4 for 2 minutes, which seemed to help Vancouver. Besser tips one high, and then Horvat opens the scoring from Hughes and Besser at 7:41 during that 4-on-4, and then Garland tries to add another. Garland doing his best to shift disturb while he was out there. I have to make sure I enunciate that right, or we're in trouble. Garland did his best there. Myers then with a slapper that was saved and held. I'm gonna chime in with what I've seen other people say. Since the coaching change, Myers has looked like he's worth every penny they're paying him. He is playing really well at both ends of the ice, and I don't know how I feel about that. It's just it's weird, right? And not taking a bunch of dumb penalties either. So Voracek has a shot that saved. Garland was trying to fire up the team as well. As we were getting ready for the intermission in the second period. Just poking away at Merzlikins, and it worked. The Canucks were aggravating Merzlikins a lot, and it was funny. Let's get to the third period where I kind of had to chuckle. Pettersson scores from Garland and Myers at 4:07. All of a sudden, it's a serious game. It's 3-2 in favor of Columbus. And that was after a really solid shift by Vancouver. I was even going to write on here a really good press by Vancouver at 4 minutes, and then Pettersson scored before I could get that up there. Momentum was with the Canucks, but still they're down by 1, and I'm thinking Columbus isn't going to blow a 3-goal lead. Mott was in alone. Nice pad save by Elvis. Canucks had a 3-on-2. Elvis saves again, so this is where Elvis is going to save the game. Horvat with a net drive, and Elvis didn't appreciate it, so he takes Horvat's stick and he wouldn't let it go, and then Horvat goes around that and he takes Bo's stick and throws it. And I don't know why I found that so funny. It looked like a street hockey move. It did. It looks like, when somebody's just like, I'm tired of this crap, just knock it off. That's what it looked like to me. So I got a kick out of that. And then the Canucks must have too, because they scored pretty much right after that. It's Podkolzin from Hughes and Myers at 9:35. So there's Tyler Myers with an assist. It's a 3-3 tie. And Podkolzin's on the board. So if you're a Canuck fan, you've got a Horvat goal, you've got another Pettersson goal, he's heating up, and you've got a Podkolzin goal. The fans then try to call a penalty. The ref says no. There were no power plays to that point in the game. With 6:42 left, that changes. The Canucks get a power play. That was unsuccessful. Bean then fires one wide, and Columbus would press. With 1:12 left, the Canucks get a power play. And Bruce Boudreau calls a timeout to discuss it. Whatever they discussed works. Horvat scores the power play marker from Miller and Hughes at 19:01. Quinn Hughes, 3 assists in this game. Horvat with a couple of goals. All of a sudden, Vancouver's up 4-3, and that Horvat goal was absolutely gorgeous. That was a fantastic goal. 35.4 seconds left. Columbus gets a power play. They call a timeout. And again, getting kind of nervous, right? But Halak robbed Jenner with 6.5 seconds left, and the Canucks hold on. They win 4-3 over Columbus after being down 3-0 after the first period. This is one of those wins. You know, they're now up to 5 in a row. They're 13, 15, and 2. They're 4 points out of the playoffs. Yes, I'm aware they've played more games than teams they're chasing, but they're 4 points out of the playoffs. That's ridiculous. Columbus drops to 14, 12, and 1. This is a game that got away from them that shouldn't have. When they were ahead 3-0 after 1, they should have won the game. 3 stars are Horvat, Robinson, and Hughes. Shots were 12-8 Columbus in the first, 18-5 Vancouver in the second, and 13-6 Vancouver in the third. This is a completely different team. Final shots 39-23 for Vancouver. Columbus goes 0 for 1 on the power play. Vancouver 1 for 2. Hits 21-16 for Vancouver. Merzlikins saves 35 out of 39. Halak 20 saves on 23 shots. Not a stellar stat line for him, but he'll take it. That's his first win as a Canucks goaltender, and it's overdue. And tonight he actually got goal support. He hasn't had goal support all year. So yeah, the Canucks come back and win from 3 goals down. Who are these guys? This is what I want. It's 5 in a row. 5 wins in a row. These guys are having fun. The confidence is back. The creativity with the puck is back. This is entertaining, and I'm honestly quite surprised. I had expected them to be better under a new coach. Not this. This I did not expect. All right, last game, Seattle. So Seattle proved to San Jose tonight you cannot, and I'm not going to say that they took Seattle lightly. I will say this. Seattle played a very good road game, and for San Jose, they lose out on an opportunity against a division rival to be, because this is their first meeting, right? To take 2 points away from them, and they don't get that. And they have to be looking over their shoulder at least a bit at the fact that Vancouver is cruising and they're starting to rack up the wins and they're getting into the mix. Let's see, that's 28 points to 31. So Vancouver right now is 3 points behind San Jose. That's a good example, right? And of course, they don't want to be giving points to Seattle. Seattle's at 23 points. So here we go. It's Drieger versus Reimer. Pressed by the Sharks at 3 minutes. There was a turnover to Carlson by Seattle, and then San Jose hands it back to Seattle, and Seattle had a 3-on-1 the other way. So that was a weird sequence right there. McCann fires one high. The shots were 6 apiece with 8.5 minutes left. And then Seattle starts playing a really good road game. And they didn't allow very much more for San Jose the rest of that period. It was a pretty solid period for Seattle. Second period, still scoreless. McCann is denied. The Sharks had blocked 10 shots through the first 25 minutes. So shot blocks were important tonight for San Jose. Couture has a chance that's saved. There's a press by Seattle at 8.5 minutes. Very composed, good game by Seattle tonight. Bonino can't bury one as the Sharks press. The Sharks would get a power play. It was unsuccessful. It did generate 3 shots for San Jose. Couture was then denied by Drieger. Yarncroke fans on one in the final minute. Johansson can't bury one for Seattle. McCann with a net crash. That draws the crowd because can't be crashing the net. But we go to the third period. 3 minutes in. The shots are 3-0 for the Sharks. And I started thinking, okay, the Sharks will probably score here, but at least Seattle had a good game. At least Seattle gave them, a challenge through the first 2 periods and all that. Larson had a slapper that was stopped. No rebound allowed on that one. Drieger, best game he's played in quite a while. Maybe his best game as a Seattle goaltender. And then Donato opens the scoring from Donskoy and Soucy. Remember, Donskoy's not allowed to get a goal, but that is his 14th assist. That's at 6:23. Appleton then tries to add another. Johansson has a shot blocked. Drieger then denied Dahlin. Good play by Jonathan Dahlin there, and Drieger stoned him. Seattle then with a 3-way pass almost makes it 2-0. It was nice. Maybe it's one too many passes, but San Jose breaks it up before it's able to get that puck in the net. Schwartz then fanned on a chance. However, Tanev makes it 2-0 from Geekie and Yarncroke at 14-18, and that really silenced the crowd. A crowd that got kind of quiet after Donato scored, a former San Jose Shark, who now has 6 goals for Seattle, equaling his total with San Jose last season. Goaltender gets pulled with 2:45 left. To the credit of San Jose, they did score. It's Couture from Burns and Hurdle at 17:53. And then the Sharks are pressing for the tie. So this is where you get a little nervous if you're cheering for Seattle, right? With 1:24 left, the goaltender gets pulled again, and that allows an empty netter. Järnkrok scores from Appleton and Wenberg at 19:54. What was nice with that was that Wenberg and Appleton didn't try to shoot the puck through a bunch of guys. They just made sure that they kept the puck in the other zone, and they got it to the right guy, and Järnkrok gets it in the empty net. So Seattle wins 3-1. They go to 10-15-3 with the win. San Jose drops to 15-13-1 with the loss. Your 3 stars are Drieger, Couture, and Donato. Shots 11-8 for Seattle in the first, 12-7 San Jose in the second, 14-12 San Jose in the third. Final shots 34-30 for the Sharks. Power plays, Seattle didn't have any. San Jose goes 0 for 1. The hits 43-31 for San Jose. This was a very physical game. This was a rough game. One of that, what they call big boy hockey, right? Very much so. Drieger saves 33 out of 34. Reimer saves 27 out of 29. And he takes an odd loss. I don't think Reimer had lost since the game against Toronto. But yeah, really excellent night of hockey. We had all 12 games with the 2 that were postponed. We didn't end up seeing anything else postponed. And for all this time of watching hockey, I could just watch hockey and put everything else out of my mind. And that's the beauty of the channel, and that's why I enjoy doing this every single day. Thank you guys so much for enabling me to have this break from everything else. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happen upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.